No, you don't need the.
I'm doing this my way. He a legend, he a legend, he a legend. He a legend, he a legend, he a legend. He a legend. Welcome to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league of Iron. Welcome to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league of Iron.
What's up, everybody? It's Pikel with League of Items, and today is a very special episode because it marks my first episode where I have Thrive Fantasy as a sponsor. So in this video, we're going to quickly go over the games from last night. Then we're going to take a look at the betting lines for the LCK for tomorrow. They're the only ones playing tomorrow. Then we'll take a look at everything that's going on Friday. And we'll take a look at Thrive Fantasy, their Friday contest. They have one for LEC. So I'll put out all the explanations of like the promo code and stuff like that. But basically, I have a promo code on their website. The link is in the description below. The promo code is Pichael, Pichael. When you click on the link, if you want to see if it was applied, you can probably just look in the search bar. It should have Pichael in there. But basically, what they want is a $10 deposit minimum, and you have to play in a contest. In order to get your full deposit bonuses, you get two. If you deposit $10, you get two free $20 contest entries. If you deposit up to $100, you get four free $20 contest entries, and the first deposit match up to $100, which is pretty good. I was checking it out. There isn't a ton of different kinds of contests available for Friday yet, but maybe they'll put out some more stuff tomorrow. We'll take a look at the sports betting side of it, because when you try to figure out which team has the better chance of winning or losing a match, you'll be able to see which player props make more sense. So we'll get into that later. But let's start off like we normally do in China. So in China last night, we had RNG playing against Weibo Gaming. In my video yesterday, I said Weibo Gaming, aka Suning, aka The Shining, is very scary when they are the favorites. What I didn't discuss in yesterday's video is that RNG lost to Rare Atom. I completely spaced on that. That probably had some impact on the line. But then I also mentioned something about Zeri and how Gala had not played Zeri yet and Huanfeng had played Zeri. Well, guess who played Zeri last night? Gala. And that kind of stuff you would always expect it to happen eventually. One thing that I was trying to think of and I didn't really know how to verbalize was like what kinds of champions directly apply to Zeri specifically. Like you have mechanical players who are very good at stuff like Jinx and Aphelios, because even though they are overpowered, the amount of mechanical execution required in order to play it to a high level is at a very high level. Like you need to be on point with your mechanics in order to play Jinx or Aphelios at the highest level. I think Zeri is like that, but the one thing that kind of sticks out in my mind is like Kai'Sa. I wonder if Kai'Sa players in general are going to be good at transitioning some of those skills to Zeri, because there's a lot more. It feels like there's a lot more chasing down, hyper mobility, and like that's a part of her kit that you can utilize very well. So like Jinx, once she's hyper, she has the additional speed. Kai'Sa, when you go into your shadow, when you go invisible, you increase your speed a lot. And Zeri, she just gets faster and faster and faster. It's pretty insane. So RNG with the upset yesterday, it's a small dog, but you know, I'm kind of annoyed with myself for not seeing that better, especially when I'm like skeptical of Weibo Gaming as a favorite to begin with. And it's not that I think that RNG is more talented. Like I prefer Weibo Gaming to RNG, which is ultimately why I chose on that side. But from the line perspective, like I think during the video yesterday, I was saying that I wish the line was closer or Weibo was the dog, because I'm a little surprised that like I think I said that I wish they had a couple more losses, because then RNG would be the favorite. And I think that's true. But enough of that. You know, RNG definitely deserved the win yesterday. It doesn't downgrade Weibo Gaming for me at all. It'll be interesting to see what that does to the perception of them otherwise, for other people, but I'm fine with that. And then EDG just slapped LGD around. That is not surprising at all. They are not playing games tomorrow, which it feels weird when there are not games being played in China. But then the following day, our first look for Friday, we have V5 against JDG. So this is another spot where V5 has had a really good season so far. Rich, Karsa, Rookie, Fodic, and PP God are it's a good roster, but it's not a great roster. Like, they have a very good record, but I don't think that they're going to completely talent diff a lot of the teams in the LPL. So for a team like JDG, you have 369 against Rich. I could see 369 beating Rich straight up, like if you get a good performance out of 369. And JDG's coming off of an okay win over JDG. They had that close series against BLG. So JDG is looking pretty good in general, and I think they are still underrated. So top lane's fine. In the jungle, I think Kanavi is just better than Karsa, but that's a close match. Like, I don't think that Kanavi is much better than Karsa. They're both good players, both like world's caliber junglers. So like they could both be on a team at Worlds, and you're not going to think that they're going to get outclassed. In the mid lane, Yagao against Rookie. Rookie definitely the better side there, but Yagao for one or two splits was thought of very highly. I knew that they were overrated then, but now I feel like it's gone a little bit too far in the other direction. Like Yagao, when they have their champions that they're good at, they are a very serviceable mid laner, specifically with things like Zoe. It's just that you don't really want to force yourself to play around a Zoe right now. You don't need to play that type of play style. It's not that it's bad, like, and you've seen some Zoes around, but it's not thought of as like a meta champion right now. And then Hope and Missing, or wait, is it? Who's their support? I think I'm right. I think it's Hope and Missing. Yeah, Hope and Missing. Hope and Missing against Fodic and PP God. That's a pretty good matchup. I think that before this season, I think that if you just asked people in general which bot lane do you think is better, I think that they would probably say Hope and Missing, because Missing has had good performance in the past. Hope was thought of highly on EDG as like an AD carry people expected to play well. It didn't really work out on EDG, but they've been playing pretty good for JDG, I think. And then kind of the same thing with Fodic and PP God. PP God hasn't been the same since V5's really good season. He was really one of the shining stars on that team, though, because he continuously made plays and got his team into winning positions. But I think that V5's record is kind of inflating this line a little too much. So I definitely prefer JDG plus 1.5 maps. And I would consider them for an outright bet as well. I do think that V5 is the more likely team to win, but I think you're getting good value on the plus 222. Next up, we have LNG against Thundertalk. I'm not picking Thundertalk against LNG, so we're just going to play that. BLG against FPX. So Xiao Hu against Breathe. I prefer Breathe. You always have to check who's starting in the jungle for FPX, which is a little annoying. They would both be competitive with Weiwei. Fofo against Gory. I've actually been kind of impressed by Fofo this split, because a lot of the time when they're in games that Doggo isn't like completely, when Doggo is not playing his best, Fofo has picked up a lot of the slack. And there have just been like some mechanical things that I've seen when he's like playing things like Victor, or Orianna. Like Orianna, he made a good play the other day. Even though they like lost a team fight, you could tell the way that he sees the game is like the right way to see the game. So I was kind of impressed by that. And then LWX and Hong against Doggo or Uzi and Crisp. I think that the BLG side is definitely better in the bot lane. But FPX is in a spot where they could definitely draft themselves into a competitive series. I would take FPX plus 1.5 maps as well. So let's move on to Korea. In the LCK last night, we had Damwon beat Sandbox pretty convincingly, and then Fredit Brion beat Hanwha Life. Something came out about Hanwha Life yesterday where it made it seem like nobody was going to play Hanwha Life. That happens pretty often in LCK because of like the way that the news comes out, people kind of just gravitate towards taking a position on LCK for like DraftKings purposes. But tomorrow should be a really good match if Ruler plays, and supposedly Ruler needs to take a PCR test. There's a rumor going around that he has COVID. Gen.G against T1. I want to play Gen.G. I want to be on the Gen.G side. I think that their roster is just as good, if not better, than T1. I think that T1 has been playing better this split, but I don't expect that to happen in most types of metas. I think that Zeus against Doran is pretty close. Peanut against Owner. I still prefer Peanut. I don't know if we're gonna like look back at losing my voice. I don't know if we're gonna look back at this time and think to ourselves like, oh wow, we kind of underestimated Zeus and Owner, meaning me. But Peanut has been so good for so long. You can't just completely get rid of that history. Chovy against Faker. I still prefer Chovy. Faker's a great player, obviously one of the best of all time, if not the best of all time, probably the best of all time. And then Gumayusi and Keria against Ruler and Lehens. If Ruler is out, you can't play Gen.G. If the fact that they're talking about him potentially having COVID, that might be depressing the line a little bit, where people don't necessarily want to bet on. Or actually, that might be pushing more money onto T1 right now. But I don't think that I'd even want to play Gen.G if like he was in. Like, I'd rather just watch the match. This one, I don't need any additional money on this match to watch it, and be excited for it. I will not be awake for the match, but that's a different story. Then we have Nongshim and Kwangdong Freaks. So that's good for me. That's a good matchup for me because I want these kinds of teams that I have a similar opinion of. I want them to play up against one another to see which positions they're playing around and which roles have like a true advantage in the lane. Rascal against Keen. I know a lot of people want me to rate Keen much higher than I do. I do think that they're better than Rascal, but is it enough to completely warp a draft? I'm not sure. Cuz and LM, both pretty good players, both former T1 players. Their last match. Wait, what? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong teams. That's funny. Kwangdong and Nongshim. Not sure why I went to KT Rolster. Nongshim and Kwangdong. So Kana against Keen. I prefer Kana. I think that Kana is one of the best top laners in the world, if not the best top laner in the world. Before the season started, I put on my top laner list. Kana was up there. Breathe was up there. I had Zoom up there. Zoom hasn't played great this split. Maybe he's not top tier anymore. But I have the Shy, Kana, Breathe. Those are really the three that stick out. I forget who the other ones were. I think Bin probably. So Kana against Keen, I prefer Kana. Dread against Elim, I probably prefer Dread. BDD against Fate, I prefer BDD. And then Ghost and Effort or Peter or Blessing. I'm not really sure who's starting in the bot lane for them against Teddy and Hoyt. I think that as long as we know that Nongshim has their starting roster, I would want to be on Nongshim. It stinks that you're not getting a better line. Like, the team with the worst record is the favorite. I think it's right. Which kind of sucks. But there's nothing we can do about that. Then let's look at Friday real quick. So on Friday, DRX against KT Rolster. Again, this is similar to the Weibo spot. I don't like playing DRX at minus 263, so I probably won't. I prefer them to win, but that's going to give me indigestion. And then Damwon against Hanwha Life. I prefer Hanwha Life. And these matches, we'll probably go over them again tomorrow with additional Thrive Fantasy stuff if they have new contests. But we'll see if there's more information on the LPL LCK matches for Friday tomorrow, and I'll probably have a different segment in the beginning of the video as well. Then let's go to the LEC. Let's do the LCS first, because then we're going to do LEC and Thrive. So then EG against Immortals, I definitely prefer EG. I'm not thinking twice about that one. FlyQuest against TSM. TSM has been horrible, and they keep getting shit on by everybody talking about them. With FlyQuest, they didn't have a great week last week. I'm pretty sure they lost 2 out of their 3 matches. 1, 2. Yeah, they won. They lost. Wait. Lost. They went 0-3 last week. So, I don't know. I don't know what that makes me feel about the matchup. It doesn't really change things, I guess. TSM has had so much bad stuff going on. They don't make smart plays. They don't necessarily draft that well. So I think the book is kind of begging you to bet FlyQuest. I think they're trying to keep the number close so that you bet on FlyQuest. I really want to play TSM here. I'm probably just going to keep picking TSM and losing for the foreseeable future. So that's my choice. I'm going TSM. Then we have Team Liquid. Team Liquid against 100 Thieves. In the top lane, Someday against Bwipo. I prefer Bwipo. Santorin against Closer. I prefer Closer. Abadaga against Bjergsen. I prefer Abadaga. And then Hansama and Core JJ. I'm not sure who's starting for support for Team Liquid, but Hansama and Core JJ against FBI and Huhi. I prefer Hansama and Core JJ. I think that we have to play 100 Thieves as an underdog here. I feel like I played the opposite side of that earlier this season. Did that number completely flip from the last time they played? Team Liquid 100 Thieves. No, yeah, so 100 Thieves was the dog again, and I had them there. So that's good. I would do the same thing. I don't think that 100 Thieves is better, like a better team than Team Liquid. I just don't think they're this much worse. Like, it's a pretty close line. I want to be on the dog here. I want to be on 100 Thieves. Then we have Gold. I know it says like March 5th, March 6th. It's just because of the timing thing. I don't know what time zone that this is in. Golden Guardians and C9. So we have C9 minus 303, Golden Guardians plus 220. You definitely want to be on the C9 side there. 303, you're not going to feel great about betting $300 to win 100. Golden Guardians has been playing pretty well in the early game too. If you were looking for a bet, I think that you would have to bet on Golden Guardians. I just don't think I want to bet 300 on Cloud9. I think that Golden Guardians will be able to get an early game lead if they draft around it again. Can they convert that lead against Cloud9? Will Cloud9 play like a scaling composition? Most likely, yes. So that takes away, like, it makes Golden Guardians need to snowball even harder to be competitive in that match. Then we have Dig against CLG. This matchup this is like similar to the FlyQuest TSM match. Both TSM and CLG have been underperforming so far this year. FlyQuest and Dignitas looked really good, but they've kind of stumbled a little bit in the past couple of weeks. I don't know if that makes me want to bet on the favorite or the dog more, though. So I need to think about that again. We could talk about that in tomorrow's video. And I guess these matches are on Saturday, so we can talk about it Friday as well. But now the moment we've all been waiting for. Friday, March 4th, we have the LEC and we have Thrive Fantasy. So let's go through the games first, and then we'll talk about I'll talk about the implications of this. I don't know the player props for the LEC yet, but I'll think about them and then try to apply what we've talked about here to that. So Rogue against SK Gaming. Rogue is obviously the side that you want to play there. Misfits against Astralis. I mean, yes, Misfits is much better than Astralis. Vitality against Mad Lions. This is gonna make me. This is another game that's gonna give me indigestion. I definitely want to be on the Vitality side. I like Vitality a lot as a team. Mad Lions at this point, I think that's pretty unlikely that they make playoffs. They probably need to go 3-0 to even have a chance. And this is the most important game of the weekend for Mad Lions, which makes me even more apprehensive to pick Vitality here, just because of how bad they've looked. If I'm Vitality, I want to keep Mad Lions out of playoffs. I don't want to play against Mad Lions. They haven't been threatening, but that can change fast. And that's kind of a hedge against me, the whole El Yoya thing with me. Like, yeah, I don't want Vitality playing against Mad Lions in the playoffs and then El Yoyo miraculously beats Vitality and then I have to listen to that for a year. That'd be horrible. G2 against XL. This should be a very important match for XL too. I think that if XL wins probably 2 matches, they probably kill off Mad Lions as well. So I wonder if this match being before this would have any impact on it. And then Fnatic, I'm going to pick G2 there. G2's been slipping a little too. And then Fnatic against BDS, we're going to play Fnatic. So now let's take a look at Thrive. So basically the deal with Thrive is that they have a lot of different kinds of contests. They have free roll contests, which obviously everybody who signs up using the promo code PIKEL is going to go into this contest. But they also have, let me go back and I'll show you the other contests. They also have head-to-heads, which head-to-heads are probably the best way to feel out the site and get a feel for, well, actually no, free rolls are the best. But you'll also be able to play head-to-head specifically, where it's just you and one other player. Thrive takes a rake, so this is a 10% rake. That's not great, but it's also really not that bad compared to DraftKings. I'm not 100% sure what the rake is on. I think this might be what DraftKings has as a rake for head-to-heads. Tournaments generally have a little bit of a higher rake. I can't play on Thrive Fantasy because I'm in New Jersey, but I think that's kind of a good thing to work with them because that way I don't have to compete with you guys, and you can just kind of take my advice, or at least hear my explanation for what side I would pick. So in the first match, we talked about this match already. So we have Rogue against SK Gaming. In general, I think that SK Gaming is thought of as a team that isn't going to be extremely bloody as a loser. That's not always going to matter. Because these numbers don't seem very high. So let's take a look. Okay, so for Jezu, we have Jezu as an 80 carry. For him to get 2.5 kills, actually we could do it like this. Let's take a look at some stats. So kills per game. Actually, this isn't the way to do it. It's probably better to go to Oracle's Elixir. Yeah, so Oracle's Elixir, then we would go to player stats, LEC, in losses. And then they don't have kills per game, but they do have kills. So let's go to Jezu. They don't have 10 losses, do they? (2022) spring. SK Gaming 10 losses. So in their 10 losses, Jezu averages 2.5 kills. I don't love that, especially in a game against Rogue, and you're getting more points. So I guess I didn't really explain that well. So the other thing about Thrive Fantasy is that you have to play the over or the under. You can't play both from the same person. You would lose one of those picks in that situation. But the one that they think is less likely is worth more points. So in this situation, we have 90 points for the over. The under is 110. I kind of like the under 110 there. You only have to pick 5 of them. I'm going to pick all of them, and then you could just figure out which ones you would want to play when you sign up using the promo code PIKEL. It's a great way to support the channel, great way to support me. Then we have Malrong, number of deaths. That one seems like an obvious under. So then we can do this again. We can go to in wins, and then we could just look for Malrong. 23 deaths in 12 games. So that's less than 2. So that seems like a pretty easy one. He dies a lot more in losses, so if you think that SK pulls off the upset, then you'd want to pick the over. It's funny because these are negatively correlated, I think. And these are the two better point options. Like if SK Gaming gets the upset, then you would expect Jezu to have over 2.5 kills, and you would expect Malrong to have over in deaths. So I think like you could probably think of it as a same game parlay where you want those two things to have as much correlation as possible. These two specifically, like if SK wins, it's a very low percent chance that Jezu doesn't have the 2.5 kills because his kill participation is probably around 25%. So all they'd have to get is 10 kills. When in reality, it's probably more likely that if they're going to be Rogue, they're probably up around 25 to 30 kills, or up to 15 to 20 kills. So let's just move to the next match. So in the next match, we have Neon and Dajor. So Misfits is a pretty big favorite. That seems low as well. Neon. So we're asking ourselves, do we think that an 80 carry is going to have over 1.5 assists in a win? The answer is yes. And then for Dajor, do we think that the mid laner from Astralis in a loss is going to have over or under 3.5 kills and deaths? I think that's most likely over. Now let's go to the next match. CLG Finn, that's amazing. You Thrive Fantasy should update that. But if they watch me and they like the fact that I talk shit about Finn, then leave it. That's perfect. Mad against Vitality. So I do think that Vitality is the favorite. Over under 4.5. Mad Lions can win, and Arma might not get to 4.5 kills. I think you could definitely be confident playing the under there. The one thing about a game like this is that you not only need to figure out which ones you like, but which combination is going to make you the most different. If it's a larger field contest like this one, what makes you different, and then also like which ones will give you the edge in like there are some that are like 130, 120. Picking some of those are going to give you a different maximum points total. Like it tells you the maximum points total down here. And they also have the in case of emergency pick, which is like if one of the players have to play. If one of your players doesn't play, then you get your 6th selection, which I think that was like FanDuel did something like that for basketball. So again, Carzzy over under 1.5 deaths. So just without even thinking about it, you know that Carzzy can die twice in any game. It doesn't matter if he's winning or losing. I think it's much less likely that he gets under. So this is one that you'd feel very good about going over 70 points, over makes you'd feel really good about going over, which is why it's 70 points and not like 80 or 90 points. That's tough. I would think that this is a bloody game. So I think that's definitely an over. Let's keep going. XL against G2. So we think that G2 is the favorite. Over under 1.5 assists. I think that's an easy over. Because like even in losses, you're most likely going to get over 2 assists if you're Caps, right? So Caps, assists. Six losses, 22 assists. So that's like 3. It's over 3. So I think you can feel really good about that one. And that's 90 points. Then we have Finn. Over under 7.5 kills plus deaths. That seems like a lot. But we can look. So Finn, over under kills plus deaths, so 39 divided by 7 is like 5. right? 39 divided by 7 is less than 5. So that's definitely that's definitely under. Let's see what maybe he looks like in wins. Maybe it's just extremely higher or much higher. Extremely higher. It's a ridiculous way to say that. 37 divided by 7. It's around the same. That's definitely an under. Okay. 1, 2, 3. So you're not going to want to play that. That's an easy under. Adam over. This is an interesting one. So they're both 100 points. Adam over under 2.5 kills. Adam over under 2.5 kills. So he's not averaging 2.5 kills and wins. And he is averaging 2.5 kills in a loss. That's insane. So that's just a pure coin flip. I think that I'd prefer over. If I had to pick one, I'd pick over for that. And then humanoid. I feel like they're just calling me out with all the players that I talk about. So for humanoid, over under 1.5 deaths. So let's do that. So humanoid in wins averages less than 2, which is around what it is. And then and they'll most likely win that game. And then in losses, he averages 5 deaths. So we don't think they're going to lose. If we knew they were going to lose, it would be over. If we knew that it was a loss, if we knew they were going to lose, we would bet over. If we knew that it was a game with probably 15 kills, 15. I guess it would need to be like 17 or 18. Like, could you see BDS and Fnatic getting to like a 22-17 game? If you think the answer is yes, I think that's another reason to play the over. If Fnatic plays a completely dominant game against BDS, which I don't think is really as likely, that's the only time that we're going to play the under. And it's 105 points. I feel like there's better ones out there. So I think Jezu under seems really good. This one seems really good because Malrong's been dying a lot recently, and I think that's just people. I think that people might just gravitate towards that, thinking that he might have another 5 or 6 death game, but that's only going to happen if they lose. I don't think they're going to lose. Neon over 1.5 assists. That seems like the easiest one. That seems like the easiest one overall. That's like almost certainly going to happen. Dajor at over 3.5 kills plus deaths. That seems very likely as well. Armut under 4.5. It seems likely, but it's like priced out better. Carzzy, the deaths for Carzzy, I think would probably be over. The only way that you're playing this is if it's under. You're not going to play that as an over. And I really don't see Carzzy going under. He's the kind of guy that just gets caught a lot. And they've been playing like Xayah sometimes. Like, it's supposed to help you not die, but it also makes them think like, oh, we could defend this tower, and then he dies. Caps over 1.5 assists. That seems like an easy one as well. Like, when it's like 1.5, you just feel like you need to play one of those sides. Finn, the 7.5 number, that's tough. I don't really want to touch that. How many deaths could he possibly have? Kills plus deaths. Like, if he goes 2, 5, and 0, or like 2, 5, and 5 in a loss, it's still an under. Like, that seems pretty likely. Adam, the over 2.5 kills. That one seems sketchy to me. The more that I think about it, if they beat Fnatic, you would think that he has to have the over. Oh, and then it's a revenge game. That's definitely an over. Adam will get over 2.5 kills. So if I was playing this card, I would have to swap out the ice picks into regular picks, and then make 2 of the regular picks my ice picks. And then the humanoid deaths one, I could see BDS focusing mid lane, like getting humanoid far behind and still losing the game. So I don't really feel good about the under on deaths. But that's basically it. So I'm getting relatively close to 1,000 subscribers. If you want to support the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share my stuff on Twitter, Reddit, wherever you can share it. Much appreciated. Thanks to Thrive Fantasy for sponsoring this video. So using the promo code PIKEL will get you the stuff that we were talking about earlier. Let's just go over that again. If you deposit $10, you get 2 $20 contest entries. If you deposit $100, you get 4 free $20 contest entries. And you're going to get a deposit bonus of 100% up to the first $100. That's pretty good. So yeah, let me know what you think about Thrive Fantasy. And I'll talk to you later.